Holy moly.
Replaced one 3 days before this disaster.
Gotta. She was too heavy. But I don't even know if it's really alive.
In the last episode, Polo Reef was plagued with problem after problem. From a power outage one day to a minor leak in the basement, the writing was on the wall that something terrible was about to happen. And it did. In the early hours, the Polo Reef team was alerted that the prized 17,000-gallon tank was 3/4 of the way empty. The team went into crisis mode to quickly fill, then stabilize the tank. Once the tank was stabilized, the reality of what happened began to sink in. With an idea of what happened, John and Joe head to the sub-basement to disassemble the valve that they suspect might be the issue. What they find shocks them and confirms their suspicions.
Oh, it's
This valve is one that's rarely used. It cuts off flow of the system to one of the towers. This valve requires a wrench to activate and is made of some very thick material. But somehow, it failed, and a chunk of it cracked off, allowing over 10,000 gallons of water to backwash into one of the empty towers.
So Joe and I removed the 2 suspected valves today from the closed loop that supposedly failed on Friday. We moved the valve and we saw that part of the flapper that closes the valve is sheared off or broken or missing. We then moved to further up the line to the other one, which had a damaged gasket. We removed both the valves and put a blind flange to stop all water flow from going out.
They quickly bring the piece up to show Andrew.
Holy moly.
That's not going to stop water.
There it is. You can see my finger. The valve, the whole plastic, completely gone.
The team heads into the lab to discuss what happened, and they have a hunch as to what might have weakened the valve, and it's rather surprising.
Look, this is the color it's supposed to be. I mean, I'm not a fucking plastic expert, but if you leave pipe in the sun, it gets brittle like that. There's obviously no sun in your pipe.
Could be ozone damage, right?
Well,
Ozone is corrosive, and I mean, a lot of people are afraid of it because of that.
This had to happen to other aquariums
Yeah.
that use ozone.
I mean, the other one could have been a manufacturing defect that let loose.
Well, one's plastic damage. The other, this looks like rubber damage.
Yeah. There
Was
was
the beginning of something here too.
Yeah.
Could one have gone and created pressure on the second one?
Of course.
Right. Crazy
I mean,
circumstances.
we're going to cap it
And it
off.
happens the day that we have no water. Like really? And the Wi-Fi thing. I mean, come on.
I mean, the Wi-Fi thing, I don't think we would have ever known until we had a problem.
But it wasn't the computer.
No. I mean, I think this is the next week or so of talking about where the vulnerabilities are and what we're doing going forward. But I think the bigger issue right now is replacing the old equipment. We have 20 or 30 or I don't even know, 30 of these valves. Replaced one 3 days before this disaster because it was leaking.
After spending all day in the basement, the Dream Team is ready to call it a day and put this malfunction behind them. The past 3 days have been more than a nightmare for Andrew and the team. As each day goes by, the tragedy of what happened sinks in more and more. But for today, the team is ready to go home and refresh. It's been a few days and the 17,000-gallon tank is back running at 100%. The valves have been repaired and today the damage control continues, but this time from inside the tank. Michelle arrives for her weekly dive. However, today, this dive will be far from routine. Her mission today is to remove some of the dead coral. She stops by to chat with Andrew about her dive plan.
What do you think, Michelle?
I don't know. This is devastating.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to move stuff around.
Yeah.
I don't need the light now if we're gonna put the anemone back.
When the tank lost its water, the poor anemone was one of the first victims. Today, they might explore putting it back into the 17,000-gallon tank.
I can go and put it in right now if you want to. And then Michelle can dive and check, and if she starts moving, then we'll get her out. If we want to do it, we need to do it when we're here for at least 6 hours.
Before she splashes down, she chats with Yeltsin about needing something to put the coral in.
That basket net that you guys were using to catch fish, you know, that's like flat and then has a thing.
Sure, you want these?
Yeah.
So this is gonna go right in the middle, right here, right like.
So she
just
can
hang it. We're gonna
start-
shut this off. And we're gonna set up there. As soon as you fill, we gotta pull them up. I see every time she fills. Yeah.
The dive plan is simple. Michelle will dive in and begin removing some of the dead coral and place it in this floating basket. Max will stay at the top of the tank and pull up the coral once the basket is full. And unfortunately, it'll go right into the trash. While Michelle gears up, they decide that now is the most opportune time to return the anemone back to the 17,000-gallon tank. Step 1, remove the anemone from the holding tank. Sounds easy, right? Well, Patty and Supermax are about to learn a tough lesson. Don't mess with a mad anemone.
Oh, she was too heavy.
You okay?
Yeah, she lit up my arm, yeah.
Yeah.
With the anemone in hand, they get ready to put it back into the tank at the same time Michelle works on removing some of the dead coral. As the anemone sits for a moment, Michelle continues her dive plan, removing some pretty large colonies. As Max brings up the first basket, the shock, it's real. He unloads the first dead corals with the help of Yeltsin. But this, it's just the beginning. Basket after basket, Michelle continues to pull dead coral out of different portions of the tank. It seems endless. Never did this team think in a million years this would be happening. It's a sad sight and a stark reminder of what the 17,000-gallon tank went through. No one likes losing a single coral, let alone large colonies like these. While removing baskets of coral, Patty notices the anemone is moving a lot. It doesn't seem to be setting in too well. Every time she takes her hand off of it, it tries to move off the rock. On top of that, the anemone keeps stinging her every single time she touches it. They decide to try and assemble a plastic cage to put around the anemone until it gets settled in, and hope that it'll hold this massive anemone in place. Michelle hops out of the tank to chat with Andrew further about the rest of the dive.
I don't really know what to do about this catastrophe because nothing is stable.
Where?
Nothing is stable here.
Just do this thing so I don't see the white. Just turn it and then put this flat. And then put this over it.
Okay.
Flat. Just on top. Just a layer.
Okay. Try it
And
out.
we'll use the cup again to
Oh, yeah.
structure it again,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
There are some colonies in the tank that aren't fully dead, so they decide to trim back the dead areas and keep the parts that are alive. On top of removing the coral, she will also shuffle some live pieces around from the middle of the tank. Meanwhile, back up top, Patty has been taking care of these magnificent animals for a long time, and she knows that in order to beat the anemone, you must think like the anemone. Patty decides to play the long game. She's going to hold the anemone in place until it decides to root its foot. After a while, the anemone gets a little support from its neighborhood clownfish. They find it and start to host it. With much needed emotional support, the anemone realizes it's home and starts to root its foot. With the anemone finally warming up, Michelle moves a few more corals around with the help of Andrew and Patty.
Switch them, I think.
This one?
Yeah, I think that should
Put it
go.
here.
Yeah. Like that. Sure. That go lower a little bit? Yeah.
She gets the last piece in place and comes back up to debrief with Andrew.
This is the last one.
The last few days have been a reminder of just how fragile this system really is. In a matter of hours, years of work can be pushed to the edge. But recovery, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly, through long days, tough calls, and constant care. And sometimes it starts with a single step, like returning an anemone back home. At Polo Reef, the work to rebuild, it's already underway. The team is working closely with network technicians to install a new system, along with satellite backups powered by Starlink to ensure uninterrupted connectivity. In addition, they're also actively researching trusted brands and implementing new fail-safes to prevent issues like this from ever happening again. Every day, the team is monitoring water parameters to guide the system back to stability. Multiple water changes have been carried out, as well as skimmers being fine-tuned for peak performance. The team has also done multiple carbon and GFO changes to remove impurities and help the aquarium recover. Most importantly, the team is inspecting all valves, pumps, and plumbing to ensure there's no further unseen damage throughout the system. These are currently the team's main priorities, but stay tuned. This is only the beginning of the recovery, and the team, they hope to have an in-depth breakdown to explain everything in more detail. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay updated on everything Polo Reef. Until next time.